I'm so happy for the guys. That's a hard game to win. There's lineups out there we've never seen. There's some lineups that we hadn't thought about until yesterday. Guys are having to communicate so much because we have some new people and people in different spots, and there's moments where the emotion gets going high in the group because we're not all speaking the same language, and the competitiveness of the team and different people stepping up at different times is what makes you feel good as a coach. We talk a lot about teams having moments, people having moments. Obviously, Isaiah had a moment at the end of the game, which was great. The play was executed well. It's not a play that we have practiced, so there's a lot of end-of-game plays that we practiced. That one wasn't one of them, and I thought the guys executed great. But losing is hard. Losing can wear on people's desire to do the things that aren't fun, to do the hard things, and to stick together and to make it about the group. And I cannot emphasize enough that our team has, and that group of guys continues to maintain the spirit of a team. Like, you go in our locker room, it feels like a team. You watch the guys interact together, it feels like a team. And I never want them to lose that. So I'm really, really proud of them. That's a great win.
Just generally, I mean, Isaiah's performance tonight, and how worrying was that moment when his head hits the floor after the dunk?
I mean, my angle, it looked nasty. Isaiah also is as tough a kid as I've been around, and so when he lays down for extra time, it worries me. I felt better when he sat up on the basket. But then anytime you hear they're going to go check him out for concussion protocol, he had blood. So it's it's scary. Those plays are scary in transition. Like, it was a great play by him. I thought the defender tried to make a play on the ball. Like, there's nothing dirty or anything there. It's just some great athletes going full speed, and Isaiah's hand slipped off the rim. So obviously happy he's okay, and was great to have him come back and finish the game.
What did you think of just his performance overall?
Isaiah's a good basketball player, and the stats reflect kind of the old school term, like he had a good floor game. He just did. He did a lot of really good things. It wasn't just some of the shots. He makes 3 threes, which is great. We haven't seen that from Zay yet this year. But the plays downhill to the rim, getting out in transition, the pace he plays with, his burst, and then obviously the last layup. It's to do that with 7 assists, 7 rebounds, and when there's a lot of new people, the point guards feel it probably more than anybody, because they're having to try to get people organized. And I thought Zay did a great job handling himself.
That 8-second violation was kind of a unique play, obviously, but what happened there, and kind of what do you want to see happen there besides get the ball over? Like, who should be dribbling the ball up the court? Does it matter? And how do you set up a play kind of at the end of the game?
Isaiah had the ball, and that's what we wanted. He and Colin were communicating about something, and I think Isaiah just kind of lost track of time. It's a fluke play, a weird play. I don't think it's anybody's fault. If it's anybody's fault, you can say it's my fault. But it's hard. You don't want to. You're always waiting for that last little quick dribble to get over half court. We just didn't have it. They were communicating about what we were running. I would just chalk that up to a little bit of youth, a little bit of a weird moment. There's also the part of guards sometimes can lose track of that piece of the clock if they don't get the rebound. Somebody gets the rebound, they pivot twice, then they throw it to you. You forget that like 3 seconds is already gone from your time. So that's a weird play, but it's not one that we'll have to talk about very much. I think Isaiah knows, you know, what happened in that moment. The part that I'm most proud of the team is like, that's a hectic moment in that timeout when you've just given them the ball back in that situation, and now they can, in theory, take the last shot. But I thought the team composed themselves. Like, their messaging to each other was like, hey, it's a mistake. We're done. Like, let's get a stop. So we'll take that part and move forward with that.
And then you mentioned like teams sticking together kind of through some of the losing. What do you think that is? Like, why do you think they were able to stick together through like a moment like that, or through losing streak of the last 3 and continue to play as a team?
Yeah, they deserve the credit. I mean, it's a choice every day to want to be a part of the group and to want to make the team stuff more important than your own stuff. Like, that's a choice, and those guys continue to make that choice. It speaks to the character of the people that we have in our locker room. I also think that as a group, we try to do a pretty good job of just naming those things and talking about them out loud. Like, yeah, we've lost, and it feels bad, and you're frustrated, and I'm frustrated, and we have to just kind of like speak those things out in the open, so that we can move through them. Like, we don't do the pretending thing. We try to meet the issues head on, but like I said in the beginning, you know, those guys deserve the credit because they're making the choice every day that they want to find the joy of being on the team. We forget about that a lot in pro sports, but like, this is still a team sport. Being in the locker room, like, them in there listening to music after the win, laughing, joking, like, when it's all said and done, that's what they'll remember. Isaiah will probably remember the layup. Everybody else will probably forget it. But those are the moments that like stick with you when you look back on a season or a team you were a part of. It's all this in between time.
How have Oscar and Elijah added to the group, knowing that, like, from Phoenix, just being for a day, the team?
Yeah, Oscar is, I mean, I've said this publicly before, he's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Our whole team loves him. He is more up to speed with what we're doing than Elijah, but Oscar also hasn't been with us for a while, and so there's been new things put in, tweaks, adjustments made, so he's playing a little bit of catch-up, but you know what you're going to get from Oscar. Physicality. You know, it feels weird that he only had 5 rebounds. I'm used to, every time I look at the stat sheet, Oscar has 17 rebounds, but you know what you're going to get from him. Like, he's going to do all the dirty work. He's never going to complain. Brings a lot of physicality to the team. And Elijah is picking things up pretty quickly. His physicality stands out, but I also think I mentioned this pregame, like, his humility on offense and just the advancing the ball in transition, executing the spacing right. I think he recognizes that he's still catching up on some things, and so he's just trying to execute some of the big rocks well. Thanks.
Thank you.